Welcome to the One Up Podcast. This is your one and only, fresh and phony. My name is Tony, and here letting you guys know, taking a break here with Luca, hanging out, and maybe I'll show up, maybe I won't. I feel like maybe I need to slam dunk it on Doe every once in a while. You know what I'm saying? So just relax back and chill and watch this episode of the One Up Podcast. Remember, one up yourself, guys.
That's the worst Tony impersonation I've ever heard.
Hey y'all, welcome to the One Up Podcast. You might notice that we're three-man this time. Unfortunately, our buddy Tony, he had an issue that he had to take care of back on his home planet. He hopped in his little weird beard-shaped spaceship and blasted off into the sky.
With Luca. In tow.
Obviously, I mean, he wouldn't leave that. What is he, a Viltrumite?
He might be the one true Viltrumite of this cast. He might.
I mean, if there's anybody, could be Tony. I could see that.
I mean, he's the only alien on the show. So.
That's probably true. I mean, Doey's a cartoon character, but he's not an alien.
Yeah.
Doey looks like a character straight out of Chowder.
You know, that Chowder animation always like creeped me out. The static images, but they would move and like the fabric would just like, it was so
I
weird.
loved it. Yeah, I loved it. And then you had the guy who just said rada, rada, rada. And you could obviously tell what he was talking about sometimes. Like he'd be cursing. He'd be making suggestive remarks. It was awesome. You had Monk, which is AKA, I named everybody in that show after somebody I knew. And Pucho was the rada, rada guy.
Damn.
There's a scene with the Rada Rada guy where something absurd fucking happens. Like all the characters find it absurd. Anybody watching it would find it absurd. And then he just goes, Rada Rada. Like, what the fuck? like Doey says, you know exactly what he's saying in that moment.
Damn, I never watched that one. My nephew watched the shit out of that show, dude. I don't know what he loved about that show so much.
It's kind of tough to watch. I'm not going to lie. Like going back, it's a great show, but these fucking episodes are batshit crazy. But it's in a good way. But it's not like Adventure Times with Finn, where it's, for me, that's like more easily to consume.
Oh, dude, yeah. I'm all in on Adventure Time. One of my favorite shows of all time. Even though was way too old, way too old when that show came out to be watching it. It engrossed me. It amused me so much. Hey, so this is a special week on the One Up Podcast. We're talking sex and love and relationships and anything in between. Kind of. We got some topics where there's some boundaries. Before we get into that, though, as usual, Doey, how was your week?
My week was actually pretty good. It got warm up here, and rather than it feeling like the slog of winter, it's kind of like, oh my God, life is beautiful again.
Damn.
So everybody's feeling good. The city tonight, very buzzy. I was like, okay, I see a lot of people going out. You could just tell everybody was in a good mood, and it's nice to see that because for the past month and a half, it's just been point A to point B. Like you're just focused on where you need to go. So it was nice. The bike rides was good. Been listening to some albums and stuff like that. I've actually, what was I playing with? Oh, our Deep Rock Galactic mission.
Oh my God, that was a failure. That was 2 failures in a row.
3 in a row, okay? Because you weren't there when we failed, me and Doey, just us two. It was terrible.
Probably the hardest level in Deep Rock Galactic so far. Yo, this shit is pissing me off.
Dude, I am so squishy in that game. I'm not used to it. On the PC version, we're running through like the exploding fire planets where you start digging and lava comes out. I can't handle that. My guy is the weakest version of himself currently.
But I had a good time.
Maybe we redeem ourselves tonight.
We could
Who
maybe do
knows?
that. This is the One Up
I-
Podcast late night edition, as you can tell by the lack of sunlight behind Doey.
Facts. Sexy. Those you see in the background, those messy. This because I have wild sex in the back, and sometimes you got to press them up against the window, and just
Right against the
sometimes
blinds, huh?
right against the blinds, and it happens. But yeah, I
Provocative. Gets the people going.
finished watching Cobra Kai. Thank you for not waiting up for me. Appreciate that. That's season was kind of mid.
I can't tell if that's an attack or not.
Season was kind of mid. I was like, all right, this is like a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Miguel's getting uglier. I don't know how to say it. This kid's
Damn.
not aging very well. Just gotta put that out there. Robbie still. Every scene that he comes out in, his lips are appearing before his even cheeks.
He's so fucking pissed. Every scene, he's so fucking mad.
That last episode at the Valley, he's like, ah! He's yelling. That was pretty cool. That Valley thing. Sam, the worst character, quite possibly.
What?
LaRusso's son, worst character
No.
development ever.
The Russo's son, worst character. Sam, I like Sam actually. She's just an angry, angsty teenage girl. You know,
She's a hot mess. She don't know what she wants.
all of them in that show are a hot mess. Poor Miguel, man. I feel like they didn't do much with Miguel, and then they just threw a bunch of bullshit at him right at the end of the season. Fucking
Yeah, so
with
it was cool.
that drunken. I love you too, Robbie.
Yeah, what was that? And
What
then
the
never came
fuck?
back. That happened like 2 episodes before the finale. He's like helping
Johnny.
fucking Johnny Lawrence. Johnny's all drunk and shit. He's helping him into
Oh.
his bed. And then he goes, I love you, Robbie. Or he's like, I love you, Sensei. I love you too, Robbie. And he's so hurt. Like, oh, how dare
Destroyed
this
him.
man love his son.
It destroyed him so much
Destroyed.
that he's going down to. I'm assuming his dad's in the cartel or something. His dad's gonna be bad news.
Yeah, they didn't use a lot of the first and second season cast. They're casting some new kids in this new season. They're trying out new things. And it's either working or not for me. I like that they cut Hawk's hair off. Good decision. That was a good arc in his story. So
I
he's
like
redeeming himself.
I like what they've done with Hawk. I think they're giving him an interesting little like
The
arc.
the new kid that they introduced that went to Cobra Kai because he was getting bullied by Lapusso. I hated that kid, Lapusso. I was like, oh my god, I'll punch you in the face. So that's cool. I watched The Martian. Wow. Not as good as Interstellar, but wow.
Not as
Amazing.
good as
You finished it?
Interstellar.
Huh?
I think I can agree with that. I think it edges out Interstellar a little bit, or I think Interstellar edges it out a little bit. Yeah.
Yes. Great movie, though. Might be one of Matt Damon's best performances that I've seen. I don't know. Haven't seen a lot of his movies. I thought
Yeah, he said he's never watched Good Will Hunting, people. He hasn't watched Good Will Hunting.
Has he really not?
isn't that where Matt Damon has like anger problems?
Yeah.
I've watched like maybe the first 30 minutes or 45 minutes of that movie. It's pretty good.
Well, he's from
That's a pretty
Boston.
good one.
Isn't that just like normal Boston? I don't think that's anger problems. That's just how you are in Boston.
Yeah, that's just growing up in the Northeast.
It gets cold, man.
good-
You got to be angry at something.
Yeah, you got to take your anger out on. How was your week,
My week?
Pooja?
Oh.
Or-
Let's go.
Oh,
Let's go. Let's go,
wow.
Pucho.
You reversed the question, but to some. Oh shit. Pretty good. I finally posted on Twitter, and you guys liked this. I know you guys saw it, but the last level in Celeste, it's so fucking hard. I finally beat it, which felt good, but it took me quite a while. And I picked up Sifu. Sifu's really good. Also fucking hard.
That game looks so amazing, though. I just cannot talk myself into buying it yet. I just picked up Dying Light 2, and I'm like, I don't know, man, $100 on video games. Don't know if I want to spend that right now.
I pre-ordered it by mistake.
Oh, shit.
It's like I'm 2 for 2. Something's happening to me where I bought Red Dead Online or Red Dead the $100 package on sale for like $60 or something like that. Then I'm just sitting there playing and I mixed up the circle button for the X button, and then I was like, I don't want Sifu, so I pressed circle twice, but it was really X. And I just bam, bam, and I even saw it happen. I was like, no. Pre-ordered, and I'm like, fuck. So I have Sifu. I'm gonna try it out. But that last Celeste level, that shit was putting me to sleep last night. The amount of times you were dying. But I'm gonna admit, watching that video you put up, it's one of the most fucking polarizing things I saw all day. I was like, yo, this shit just kept me focused. I was like, yo, this is crazy. There was one time where you threw the little umbrella thing through. I was like, wait, where's he? What is he doing? And then he went and did a whole bunch of stuff, caught up to it and grabbed it back. I said, oh, I was like, it's fun to watch when you do it in one string, but goddamn, does that game take a lot of mental focus.
Yeah, the most annoying part about that whole video I put up is one sequence. Like if I died ever, it's from the beginning. I go back. There was no checkpoints in all of that. So it was, like I said, that was the last screen of that chapter. But the whole chapter was challenges similar to that. And I died over 2,000 times. Doey heard me last night as I was playing. I was just going, fuck. Fuck.
I was watching. I was like, God damn, this is hard.
Man, there are a handful of games that are like that I enjoy, but I can't get into them the same way as you. Like Ronin, I played the hell out of that game, Ronin. I don't know if you remember that one or not.
It's like indie, right?
Yeah, indie one. It's like almost like turn-based. Each move you do takes up a certain amount of time, right? And then time pauses again while you ponder your next move. So you're slashing people and throwing your sword and teleporting around and all that. Super cool game, but it's frustrating as hell.
Damn. When did it come out?
Years ago. It's at least a 5-year-old game, I would imagine.
Okay, so that's recent though. That's not too.
I watched some of Pucho's Celeste run. I watched him playing a level on hard mode.
Yeah, that was fun. He was like, hey, I'm gonna go get breakfast. And he's like, but I can't go until you beat this level. And the whole time I'm playing, he's like, I'm starving, Pooch. Just finish it. I'm
dying, dude.
He's like, God damn, you're guilt tripping me. This level's hard. Every time I die, my thought was like, oh, my stomach is hurting. I'm like, God damn, what a piece of shit.
Dude, he got so close too.
That's incredible.
He got so close too, and then he beat it once he remembered to do a mechanic in the game that he hadn't been using. He was playing the entire thing on hard mode.
Yeah, like an idiot. But a couple weeks ago, I mentioned that I was purchasing an exercise bike, okay?
Yes.
It finally arrived. It's finally built. And I used it for the first time yesterday. And I got ass blasted, all right? My ass is destroyed. Actually, I used it this morning, not yesterday. What the fuck am I talking about? I used it today for the first time. My ass is destructed right now. I don't even know how I'm sitting in this chair right now, but I could feel it. Like the pain, it's a tender ass.
It's
that
normal
chair,
with
the seat that came on that bike is not built for a man this large. Okay, yeah. I had to buy. I bought another seat to try something else. I bought a seat. I bought cycling shorts with the padded crotch, padded gooch. Apparently, this padded gooch it's common across the cycling world. It's a necessity.
Huh. It really is. It helps so much. You should try that, Mateo. Not only getting a different saddle, but getting like some decent shorts. It's super important for cycling. So
do you wear these? Do you wear only these shorts, or you wear them like under your clothing?
The cyclists say you should only wear those shorts. It's just not for me.
It's a bold move.
I like to wear those multiple times throughout the week, and I feel like if you go raw the one time, you gotta toss them in the fucking.
And my
Yeah.
brother does, when he goes cycling, he'll cycle like 30 miles or some shit. He goes in just the shorts. So I've been driving around and seen him. I'm like, I hit a cut and I see him just on his bike in just the shorts. I'm like, oh shit.
30 miles is impressive, dude.
It is
Good
That's
job.
very fucking impressive.
I mean, my brother. But
Yeah.
I rode 4 miles, and my ass is wrecked.
Dude, that's good,
But-
man. That's
I'm
badass.
gonna go tomorrow.
You could have done more if you had a better seat, right?
Yeah, I was like, oh, and my wife's like, damn, you got a good workout in. I'm like, dude, that's my ass. My ass is in pain. Dude, and the fucking seat, it's like, it's like the longest fucking thing. And all right, I'm not like, I'm not blessed by the gods with like a massive cock, all right? But the whole time, my cock is just shifting over the
Yes.
seat. Rah, 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 rah. And I'm like, this isn't comfortable. Thankfully, it wasn't hurting me, but it was not comfortable. So I'm like, how could any man in the world sit on a seat like that and ride it? I don't think it's possible.
Was the seat higher or lower? Like where seating, you have to make sure you're high off the ground.
There's some bike troubleshooting that's gonna happen here in the future, is what it sounds like.
I looked online and I followed some guides into how to set the whole thing up like ergonomically and stuff, but I don't know. It wasn't doing it for me. Right? That seat was like just like ramming into the gooch.
Yeah, most bikes don't come with comfortable saddles. It sucks that even the exercise bikes are like that too. But it's a common thing in bicycles.
It's just crazy.
At least
You
that shit
spent
can be changed
$1,500
out.
on this thing. You spent $1,500 on this thing, and it's like the only thing it needs is for you to be able to sit comfortably on this fucking thing. It's like I can't even do that. Today I was having like a little bit of buyer's remorse. I was like, fuck, like I'm gonna use this again and just destroy my ass.
I mean, that's a good point. There realistically are only two like real parts you care about on an exercise bike: is the seat and the pedals, like the pedal mechanism. Those are the important two parts right there.
Usually you have to swap out the pedals too. It sucks, but that's on a bike. I don't know about this thing. This thing must have decent pedals on it.
I mean, it's made out of like pure titanium. So
Oh shit. Okay.
What kind of
pedals and
scenery were you
I was
getting your
riding
ass
around Italy.
blasted?
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was
Went
an
through-
ass blast in Italy.
Yeah.
He had some. He had a nice Italian wine. He was sipping on it while he was riding his bike because that's what you're supposed to do.
I rode through some fucking Galileo gallery, some bullshit like that. Even though he's not an artist, I know. But it was some shit like that. I don't know. It went through some art exhibits that were like outdoors, hit some mountain paths. This bike hits an incline like a motherfucker, yo.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like, and it got hard.
You
Like,
could
I was
feel it?
like, holy shit. Like, I thought I was
Some
gonna
of-
die.
Some of those parts you're supposed to stand up and like really put like work into it.
Sometimes. But
No, yeah, sometimes, but
I was
usually when you
watching
go up,
because it has like a ride along thing, so you're seeing someone ride a bike in front of you, and you're supposed to be like the guy behind the you're like the cameraman in the bike cycling videos you find on YouTube. And she was not standing or riding; she was champing the whole thing out. I honestly felt like my incline was worse than her incline because she made it seem way too easy.
Is there
I
a
was like, "There's no fucking way."
Is there a chive version of that you can get where the person riding in front of you just randomly crashes every now and then?
I'm not gonna lie, it did feel very weird. Like it gave me like a very strange sensation when the incline was occurring. It's just you could barely hear the motor, so you don't really notice that it's happening, but you just feel the world kind of shifting around you. It just doesn't feel right.
That sounds
to
so
just
cool.
randomly start tilting, and you're like, every time it happened to me, I was like, whoa. Like it took me a second before like it felt normal again.
that's awesome.
I like that. That sounds badass, dude.
Yeah, it's cool. Hopefully, like I said, I bought the seat and I bought the shorts, but they don't get here till like Sunday, Monday. So my ass is wrecked at least 2 more days. So we'll see. We'll see if I can even stand. I got a treadmill too, so maybe I'll start using the treadmill a bit in the meantime before I get the new seat. I'm gonna try again. I even looked online. Some people were like, "Yo, by the time my seat and my shorts actually came in, I got used to the seating."
You will. Yeah, you're tender right now. Little tenderoonies.
Oh, I'm tender.
Got the tenderoonies.
You cook
You could
this
also-
bad boy up, be nice, be fall off the bone meat. Like that's how.
Also, you could just take like a towel, fold it a few times, and then like put it in your gooch area, like the area that hurts, and then sit down on top of that.
Like a diaper?
Something like that, just to create like a layer of maybe some sort of cushion.
I can see where he's going from. I don't like that he agreed to the qualifier of like a diaper. That makes me inclined to not want to take his advice. But
Right? Like I wanted you to deny it right away.
no, in a manly way.
Like a big baby.
How about you, Mateo? How are you doing, buddy?
Well, I don't know if you can see, but I have I acquired a throne,
Yeah, look at you.
and it
Oh,
Could
I've
go in
been-
this
I've
fucking
been-
peasant seat.
I've been forced to the top on this episode, but I know where my loyalties lie.
I don't know.
I'm a foundation kind of man.
I like it.
oh man. Well, if we could get a sponsorship, now would be a great time so that I could be the only one that benefits from it for a seat.
That would be good.
That'd be
There's all
fucking- that'd be
three of
so
us have the
good.
secret lab.
No, yeah. So I just got this in. There is some part of me that was just so happy with the packaging on this thing. Everything is just like individually wrapped and contained, and it's got an instruction book that's like 300 feet wide. Like I had to spread it across my entire apartment to be able to read it. This is one of the easiest things I've ever put together. Everything was so simple. It's got some cool tools that came with it. I would put those back into the little case. I was like, I don't even know why. They just
You
feel like
wanna
they need to go
do-
back where they live.
You
How
want to
like
do the
little
lean
fucking
back?
the screwdriver that was like a fucking hand. Like you grip this thing like a fucking like a real fuck. What do those Great Depression guys? Them hooks they used to use to pick up sacks and shit.
Yep.
It felt like one of those things.
Yeah, it was wild. Putting this together was fun though. I enjoy putting things together. And yeah, this chair is cool. I like all the magnetic shit on it. I haven't done the extreme lean like Tony yet, but I'm also not trying to knock my desk over because I'm a little too close right now.
How do you like the chair?
It's good. It's a little firm right now. I know I've heard that it's gonna loosen up as I sit in. I've been sitting in the thing for like all of 2 hours at this point.
Okay.
It has been a one up myself kind of day though. I will tell you, I one up my chair. Got my new phone in today,
Oh shit!
so I've been playing around with that.
dang.
Very nice. That's the 12.
That is the 13, bud.
Oh my god!
Damn.
It's
I need to upgrade my iPhone.
It's been a treat yourself kind of day. It's been good.
Oh man, that must feel awesome. And you're raw dogging it right now.
Am I?
Yeah, you don't
You
have
a
any
case on your
case.
phone?
No, I got a case.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not bad.
No, dude, I will tell you though, when I first got the iPhone, I spent about like 3 weeks without a case in that thing because the phone was just so tiny and like nice and it felt so good in my pocket. Freaked people out for 3 weeks, dude. People were just like, I'd pull out my phone at the bar and they would just be eyeballing me. They're like, really? No case, huh? I was like, no case.
Raw
you don't-
dogging it.
Some of the best days of my life was when this is back in the day. I got a Galaxy S3. It was many moons ago, and I just didn't have a case for a whole year, and it was fantastic. And it
Damn.
worked good and lovely. All those things. I had this habit of putting my phone in my crotch when I drive.
Yeah.
I don't
feel
know
that.
why. It just felt like the natural place for it to be. And then occasionally I would just get out of the car and then the fucking phone would fall out. And most of the time it'd fall like in the car. I would notice and grab it. One day I got out the car at work. It came out. and I felt it. Like it just fell. It didn't even sound, it wasn't even dramatic. It was very lackluster actually, the tumble. And I was like, there's no way that could have caused a screen destruction. And when I picked up the phone, it was just shattered. And I used it shattered like that for a whole year too. So it worked perfectly.
You know that you've gone through some struggles. If you've lived that life experience with a shattered phone that cuts your hand every time that you use it, cuts your finger a little bit.
Thankfully, I didn't have no shards or anything like that really coming out at me. So I never cut my fingers, thankfully. It was fully functional with a shattered screen. So it's like, I ain't gonna pay money. I'm broke.
I'm not even the type of person to drop my phone, but just the thought of having to pay X amount of dollars I always get like some sort of, I like the silicone things. This one is the smart battery.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually don't think I'll ever not buy some sort of smart battery with it, because having to charge your phone fucking sucks. And this shit lasts until like, this is a whole day, and then to like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, I'll have to finally like charge it if I'm using it.
And that's pretty heavy use too. I mean, you listen to music all day, you watch videos all day.
Yeah,
Like
no,
that,
I'm
that's
using
heavy
it
use.
all day. Yeah. So I would recommend that.
No, that's great. As far as gaming, since we all kind of talk about what we've been gaming, I've been playing Disco Elysium. I don't know why I put off playing this game for so long. It is weird and wild and raw. My guy is a cop that thinks that he's a superstar. And the adventures in the game sound so stupid because like what I've done so far is I yelled at a little girl about communism. I broke through a door and hurt myself. I've discussed racial theory with several racists on the street. There's nothing really exciting. I gave a man like the double bird because he tried to make me pay for a room that I destroyed, and I almost ran into a woman in a wheelchair. Like the game is batshit insane. My necktie talks to me and yells at me.
Are there like a lot of like avenues where the story could go? Like when you played the game, did you do any of these things that Mateo mentioned?
So the first time I played, I made my own character, but the second time I picked one of the archetypes, and it was a lot different. A lot of the things I've played the game a few times just by making my character, and I'd always run into the same dialogue trees. I noticed that when I picked this new character, a lot of the dialogue was different for this character. The things that I was saying, there's one point you're calling someone up. The person who called in the dead body in the back, you're calling her to see like how come she didn't call sooner. You find out that she likes someone in the bar. You go back to the manager, but like this version of me, he was like, yeah, she wants to ride the carousel, and he's like, what carousel are you talking about? He's like, the cock carousel, baby. Jesus. And he's like this. He's pointing at his genitals and making suggestive fucking dances.
Vulgarities?
Yeah, the vulgarities. Yeah. So it was it has moments like that I'm like, yo, this is some of the best writing in video game in a very long time.
It's fucking hilarious. It is so batshit insane. There's sad parts in it too. Like there's a lorry driver I was talking to. The best thing that happened is what I put up on Twitter though, is my guy asking a woman if they asking her, I want to have fuck with you. I got a critical failure on an attempt to hit on this woman, so that's what he came up with. It's a pretty insane game.
I want to have fuck with you. That's some of my favorite. It's shit like in this case, it's for. I mean, it's an English person not really they having like some kind of mental malfunction, but I find it hilarious. Like my parents are not, they're foreigners, right? They're immigrants. Mm-hmm. So sometimes, people that don't know English, for people that English isn't their first language, sometimes they just say some weird shit that doesn't really make sense, but it sounds hilarious. That's some of my favorite shit is listening to to people that speak other languages just come up with sentences. And a sentence like "I want to have fuck with you" is just something I could totally hear someone who's not a native English speaker like coming up with to say exactly that. Like,
though, props to them though, because that sentence gets it across. Like, exactly what that person wants with you when they ask you that, even though it doesn't make any grammatical sense. The point gets across.
yeah, it's a little forward. I want to have fuck with you.
Okay, so y'all.
That game. One more thing. That game feels like, what if Fallout only did talking? You talking branch trees to make it through everything. It feels like that. Like you have all these checks that you need to mark, and it just feels like they took that aspect from Fallout. And what if we made these the speaking parts more engaging, and they just made a game out of it?
I agree, because it gives me a lot of Fallout 1 and 2 vibes, because Fallout 1 and 2 had crazy dialogue and shit you could do in that game, just with speech checks and skill checks and things like that. I mean, the other games do too, but like Fallout 1 and 2 were a little bit more raw, I think. So yeah, I 100% agree with that. My only complaint about the game, I wish that my main character was voice acted. I wish he had full voice acting.
Yeah.
I just want to hear someone say some of the batshit insane stuff that he says. But
maybe I'll go back and check this out.
You should.
I played for like 5 minutes or something.
You absolutely should. It might not grab you. It might not be your cup of tea. It's a weird isometric top-down game where you just talk a lot. But give it a try. We do actually have topics tonight, though. Believe it or not. Have some things that we want to discuss. Got them written down on a piece of paper, all official-like. We got a question for the class here. We're gonna start with Pucho, because I think that he might have some good insight on this. Pucho, should your partner be your best friend?
It works for some people. I mean, in my case, I'd say my partner was, I guess, prior. Are you saying like prior to getting into a relationship? Or are you saying that once you're in a relationship, they are your actual best friend?
I think both, right? Because it's almost like two different questions, right? Depending on which one is being asked. And I think both are actually important conversations to have. Like, because I feel like when the question is asked, like, you're not best friends with your partner before you get together, right? Should you make an effort to like make them your best friend? There's a lot of pressure that goes along with that. Like, it's a lot of pressure to put on someone. So I think there's lots of complicated answers. I think both are important, though, honestly.
Yeah. So I guess I'll speak to my second interpretation of the question, but I think your partner should be your best friend. I mean, it is the case in my relationship. Like, I don't share myself fully with anybody except for my wife. So I don't know. It works out for me. I don't know. It's hard to imagine like the things that you have to go through when you're in a relationship. Like just there's a lot of difficulties. There's even simple shit like paying bills, gathering money, coordinating who's doing what in any given situation. It's hard to imagine going through all of that with the person and not really being able to confide in them. Like, you have someone else that you go to confide in them. Like, it's hard for me to imagine that. But
that's fair. And like, I know that some people might watch this, some people that know us, and they'll be like, oh, Pucho just said that because he knows his wife watched the show. But as someone that has seen Pucho and his wife interact, like, you two are very obviously best friends. You two, or the way you interact, your ease around each other, like the way you talk, like, it's very obvious. I appreciate that about y'all's relationship.
Yeah, oftentimes if people don't know us too well and they're around us, they're like, yo, these two people sound like they hate each other. Like we just kind of talk shit to each other like all the time. And I think it's interesting. I think it's funny. But
I love it. It cracks me up. Your wife is one of the funniest people that I've met.
Wow.
She takes a lot of swings. And some of them miss real big. But when she hits, though, man, it's those big swings. They go as far as she wants them to go.
Yeah, it's a Bay-ass thing.
we used to make fun of her, like, because like you said, she takes a lot of swings. She says she gets one a day. Like she hits one home run a day. Like she tries all day long to make these fucking jokes that just fall flat. And then once a day, lightning strikes, all right? And she does something special. And then she immediately loses it because then she needs to rub it in your face, and then she's laughing and doing the finger pointings, and then it's like, oh, this is now way too corny. Like you don't win anymore. It's over. Like this is a loss.
Give it back.
No, it works for her.
What are your thoughts, Joey? Does someone need to be your best friend before you date them? Is that like the trick to success in a relationship? Does someone need to become your best friend when you're dating, and that's the trick to success? What are your thoughts on this?
I think like you can't define every relationship as like, you know, some people are really like, I try not to use words that would like, some people have a different way of receiving love, and if you can make that work with that person, then like, yeah, I think compatibility, you have to have some sort of compatibility with the person you're with. But I think in dating and in being girlfriend, boyfriend, you start to learn more intricacies. Nobody is their true self the first time you meet them. Unfortunately, that's the way I feel about that. Very rare are you gonna find somebody. I feel like the only people you really get that with are like early on in your life, like your friends from when you're kids and shit like that.
Well, yeah, because you've already been as weird as you can be. You've been little kids with each other, and little kids are batshit insane. They're the weirdest people in the goddamn world.
Yeah. But like finding and dating and stuff like that, I think it's super important to be compatible with the person you are. But compatible is a word that's just very circular. You can be compatible, and you can be two people that don't really want too much attention from each other. And if you can make a relationship like that work, then who's to say you have to be people's best friends? You could just make the shit work. And I don't know a lot of people like that, but like I said, I've seen people together. They're not necessarily best friends, but they love each other and they make it work. They have their own things that they like doing. You know what I mean? They're not always together. But in a relationship that I would try to go after, I would really like it if I could be best friends with but I don't know if it's viable in all situations. You don't want to seek a best friend and then that person is like, yo, you're not giving me enough space, because your version of a best friend is something different than, you know what I mean? So you also got to check yourself. I noticed being too clingy in relationships, not the best trait. I don't know too many people who's like, man, I need somebody clingy. I think you can smother out a fire that way, and what once was something that was burning is now just smoke, and it's not really feeling it anymore. So I think you work towards that. I think that's why making sure there is a dating phase and and it's like a clear definition. You know what I mean? Like sex is sex. You're gonna have sex in any one of those phases. Sometimes people don't have sex right away. Sometimes they do. And but you got to make sure you check yourself check the brakes, make sure everything is healthy. You got to have a healthy relationship above everything else. And if too much, I'm the type of person that I need like a few hours in the morning. Just like leave me alone. I'm just going to wake up and like,
wait, you need some slow wake up time in the morning without people interacting with you? No way.
So some people would say I'm unfriendly in the morning, and I'm not. And so like, how could you be best friends with somebody who's like, I need at least like an hour and a half to myself?
You know who that is his least favorite thing and his most favorite thing about you is Tony. Tony fucking loves trolling Doey in the goddamn morning when he knows that Doey's not even slightly a morning person. You are his favorite person to just target first thing in the morning.
I love it. I miss it so much.
I mean, you're grumpy for like an hour and a half every single fucking morning. It just feels like you just need to sleep an hour and a half more.
I sleep like 10 to 11 hours a day. I don't think I need more sleep personally.
Sleep is the cousin of death.
Yeah, I sleep too much. I could maybe try. I don't know what's wrong with me. I wake up at 10. I have an alarm every day for 10. And I wake up at 10 and I'm like, I have 2 more hours. And I just take it off. I have another alarm 2 hours from then. And I'm like, all right. So every day I try. And then I'm like, no, I'm just going to sleep more because that sleep is good.
Sleep is important. I think I tend to agree with your statement to get us back to the relationship topic. I think I tend to agree with your statement. I've met some people with some very interesting views on this, though. I've known some guys that have told me that like you shouldn't be friends with your woman. Why would you want that? You should have your boys, and then you have your relationship that you can come back to. But you shouldn't fully confide in other people. These people must have been hurt. There must be some kind of pain there that's caused them to put up these walls.
Yes.
I think it's a cultural thing. Like, I think like in our society, we raise men to be a certain way. I find like a lot of the guys who view things like that they have a lot of like that machismo like behavior or whatever. Like where they feel like the woman's job is to do X, Y, Z things, and outside of that, like she's not useful to me. I need to go and do these other things like elsewhere or whatever. I don't know. I just always found that weird when I'm like, I have friends that are like that, and it's always difficult for me to be around, like hearing people talk like that, or I'm just like, I don't like, how do you view your wife like that? Like, I don't know. It's so strange to me.
It's bizarre. It's bizarre. You know, this is a little bit of a tangent. So I watched a lot of Macho Man Randy Savage videos this week because he might be my favorite performer of all time. The man was just pure insane electricity. And from what I've heard, the man didn't do drugs or anything. So it was just pure Macho Man Randy Savage. Rest in peace. An absolute amazing human being. One of my favorite. But there's this thing on he was on the Arsenio Hall show, I want to say. And they asked him if he cried. And Macho Man gave the surprising answer. He's like, I'm a macho man. He's like, and all macho men know that it's okay to cry. He's like, I've cried 25,000 times in my life. I'm going to cry 50,000 times more. And that's one of the most macho things you can do is just be true to yourself. He did something like that. I was like, God damn, good job, Macho Man.
That's awesome.
And then it's like, what kind of a man are you? Like, there's no way that you're more macho than Macho Man. So how the fuck are you going to try to convince yourself that you can't cry or that you shouldn't cry? I don't know. There are some people that just don't have that in them, that they just are not like that emotional to like they'll just never cry about something, you know. I'm a fucking baby. Like I'll watch a movie and like a kid will die and I'll just fucking cry. Or I'll be like, I'll watch a movie and like somebody's mother gets like an illness and I'll just fucking start shedding tears. Like, I don't know, there's like a lot of things like that just...
What's that baseball movie with Keanu Reeves? That little boy? That shit made me cry.
Oh, Hardball?
Hardball. That little kid. God damn it. He's fucking crying,
I
bro.
watched that movie too young.
I thought you were talking about The Replacements at first. I thought you just got confused and thought it was a baseball movie.
No, not the football. He got shot, right? The kid?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
No,
he's a baseball coach in the hood. It's hard. It's hardball. Oh, yeah.
I need to check that out. No, I agree. My concern with statements like you have to be best friends with your partner, though, right, is that there can be a lot of pressure there, right? Like if that's not like the natural way your friendship is going, And I do think you should at least be friends with your partner. Obviously, I don't know how in the world people make it work when that's not the case. That's insane to me. But I think it can be a lot of pressure if that's like what you're just pushing towards from the beginning. It's that smothering thing that Dowie was talking about. Like, if you're just constantly like, oh, tell me what's on your mind. Oh, let me text you 40 times a day because we're best friends now, because we're dating, so we have to be best friends.
Are you hungry?
What are you thinking about?
Have you eaten?
What's on your
mind? What did
mind?
you eat?
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, it's not like when it comes to dating, you could be single one day and then the next day you're dating and there wasn't like this big buildup to it. You know what I mean? In scenarios like that, I don't think from one day to the next, you guys are best friends. I don't think it works that way. I think, I don't know, like when you make a new friend, right? Which maybe a lot of us probably haven't done in a while, but like, you know, when some of us became friends, right? It wasn't like automatically I'm texting you, are you hungry? What are you doing? It's like, because if I did that to anybody, like you would smother that fire too. You'd be like, I can't fuck with this guy. He's too much. Like, I can't deal, right? But then there comes a point where that becomes, I mean, for me, that would never be normal. But there comes a point where more interactions become more normal. Like when me and Dowie became friends, like in junior high and shit, like we were just friends that talked when we were in school. And then it slowly progressed to the point where we started hanging out on occasion. And then we started hanging out every single day. It's not like it's not, imagine like me and Dowie, like we just met and then I'm like, all right, I'm coming to your house every single day. Like it would be ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. But I do think that if you get into a relationship with someone, like, there should be some effort there I think there should be some effort there to get to that point where like you guys are best friends. Because like I can't, like how you, like, it's just so strange. Like you're moving in with people, you're gonna share a bed with someone that you don't even like.
Who's that political dude that like he's like a straight up like Democrat and his wife is like a hardcore Republican? They're very vocal. I forget who the hell they are. Like his wife worked in the Trump administration and he was just this vocal critic of Trump the entire time. How in the world do you think like things like that work? What is their home life like? They get home and they can just shut all that down, all their like political feelings and thoughts, and just be like, oh yeah, what do you think of the lasagna?
I can't do that. I would bring it up in a heartbeat.
Your fucking hate-filled lasagna made with 100% hate.
Damn.
God damn.
It's not even hate-filled. It's just hate. 100% hate. It's not even a lasagna.
I fucking loved it. Come over here and give me that pussy.
Damn. You think they just have hate sex constantly is what they're doing?
I noticed I said bussy, not pussy. So I'm just trying to put that out there.
No, that's yeah, I don't understand the mechanics there. I do think that that thought of that hate-filled lasagna and the hate sex got in my head.
Give me that pussy.
No, I think it is also important. Like you have to have you can't just have your best friend be your partner though, right? Like you have to have that person, those persons outside that are able to give you a little bit of like breathing room and space, a little bit of a buffer, right? Like I know people that have gotten into relationships and boom, it's just those two all the time, thick as thieves, and there's like cutoff, like the cutoff happens, right? Like that's a real thing. And I don't know if the extreme of that is any better than like the extreme of you can't be friends with your partner. Like you got to keep it separated. Like,
although I love the puppy love stage, it has behooved me per se that you should probably take a step back and be like, I really like her, so I kind of want to, I don't know, from me, I think I need to, kind of go crazy in the puppy love stage, and I need to kind of like pump my brakes and temper myself, because I just think you gotta like give people room to breathe. As much, you gotta want people to want you. If they already have everything, then some people don't appreciate that. Some people do, some people don't. Some people, you gotta give them the chase. It's the you know what I mean? Yeah, you want this fine, thick booty.
Speaking, God damn, he just keeps derailing my thoughts.
Fine, thick booty.
Speaking of giving advice when it comes to relationships, what bad lessons have y'all learned from pop culture? Because I feel like there's just so much in movies and TV shows and video games and every single thing we consume. 90% of it has a love story. There's some kind of love interest. There's some kind of love story included in it, right? And because of that, there's so many lessons that you learn, especially as a young kid, a young teenager.
You want to know how I fucked up? The fucking Beauty and the Beast, all right? I love this movie. I was like, one day I'm going to kidnap some woman and she's going to learn to fall in love with me. And you guys made me feel like a piece of shit for it, okay? That's all I ever wanted to do. I'm like, this is a way to get a woman to love you? I was like, count me in. Let's do it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But
God.
no, but nay, you put a girl to sleep and then kiss her to wake her back up. She's not. You know, she's
Some
not gonna.
Sleeping
You know what I
Beauty
mean?
shit? Like,
Yeah, man. Almost a lot of what I learned as a kid about love completely fucked me over for the future. Like almost always.
I mean, this is why Disney is like, they push so hard, I think, now on like not telling those kind of stories where it's like the woman's a damsel and she has to be saved, and that's all there is to it. Here's the prince, he's gonna come save the goddamn day. He's gonna kill the dragon, he's gonna kiss the girl, he's gonna, whatever.
You know what was a realistic love story, although kind of Shrek. Shrek.
I can kind of get behind that.
It was realistic.
yeah.
It's about acceptance. It's about accepting yourself and knowing who you are and bettering yourself. I mean, Shrek is not the same grumpy. What is Shrek? A troll? An ogre? An ogre. He's not the same
He
grumpy ogre
loves
that he
her
was.
even when she becomes an ugly ogre.
I think it's better to say that she loved him even though he was a man.
She
But,
she looked significantly better than Shrek in the ogre form.
Yeah. Shrek was definitely fighting above his weight class with her. Okay?
Usually when you tell people like, hey, I'd like you to find, you got any friends, usually you're not like, what do you want? And you look in a mirror, you point at the person in the mirror. I want them to look exactly like me.
What about that trope in like sitcoms in particular? It's like the husband is this like schlubby underachiever. He's dumb as hell. You've got like your Homer Simpsons, your what is that King of Queens, like Al Bundy. Like, what's with that trope of just like these like attractive women with just these terrible, terrible, terrible husbands?
Hopefully one day that'll be me.
I think it's
One
just
thing.
some fucking TV execs putting out their fantasies out there. They're trying to live their dreams vicariously through their
Yo,
characters.
the King of Queens made me think I could date a hot Italian chick. It's not happening so far.
Yeah. Poor though.
That's a good show.
But one thing that I've seen plenty of times, and it bothers me every single time, when people in movie fuck, when people in movies they fuck, right? After the fuck, they just insta go into cuddles and they're laying with each other and everything's mad good. And I'm like, sex ain't that clean. Like, I need to wash the shit out of my crotch. Like there's cleanings that need to take place immediately after the action's done.
Off of my tongue.
Oh,
Everywhere.
you know, let me stop. You got places you got to clean. You know what I'm saying? And it's like there's this perception that like you could just have sex and then just hang out and everything is all good. And it's like
Not happening.
I would be so grossed out by just putting all the fuck juices all up in my sheets. Like oh, I'm just laying here. I'm gonna spoon you now. Here, take all this dripping juice on your thighs, on your ass. It just doesn't seem appealing.
You wake up in the morning after cuddling all night, just post sex without any cleanup. It sounds like Velcro when you pull apart.
Oh my god!
Yo,
It'd be like breaking out of candle wax. Oh shit!
No, absolutely. The way that sex is presented in movies is always this weird thing, and they always made it, especially like as a teenager. I remember feeling like such a like pressure to have sex because it's like, oh, like the virgin in the movie was made fun of and blah blah. And I was like fairly early in my friend group as far as having sex, and I still felt like I was like missing out by like not having it earlier. I don't know. There's so much pressure there. And
I mean, and then there's also all your peers. Everybody's lying about, oh yeah, this chick gave me a blowjob, or they're like, oh yeah, I felt up on her tits. Or everybody's making up all these stories. Ain't nothing that a 12-year-old kid telling you the truth. All right, nothing. Not a one.
I mean, we could go further back. The 80s taught us that like there was nothing wrong with peeping on girls in like locker rooms. Like,
oh my
you
God.
could take the girl to the kegger and get her drunk, and that's fine. The 80s was fucked as far as the advice they gave out.
One of my all-time favorite movies, Revenge of the Nerds. They install like this whole camera system in the girls like the sorority. They put cameras all over the house. It was this big thing. They broke in. They played like the fucking Mission Impossible music. They're putting cameras all over the place. And then that's it. They spend the next week in the house just eating pizza. They're just ordering food in and just watching the stream from the like the
So
CCTV.
weird.
And they're just, and then, you know, they're just like, we've got Bush. And everybody's running over to see. And it's so fucking ridiculous that this was acceptable back then.
It's crazy stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like movies are definitely the way that the like parties and sex and things are presented in movies. There's definitely some aspect of like the lack of knowledge with consent that goes hand in hand with that, because it was never a conversation back in like the 80s and 90s media that, you know, I think all of us grew up on.
Yeah, I mean, in that same movie, there's a low-key rape. Like he dresses up. It's like a Halloween or costume party or something like that. He dresses up as her boyfriend and then goes into some place and he starts fooling around with the girlfriend. And then she's like, oh, take your mask off. And he's like, nah. And then they proceed to fuck. And so now she's having sex under the impression that she's having sex with her man. And then, of course, the movie makes it so that she enjoyed that sex so much that now she left her man and now she's with the nerd. But it's like, this is a fucking power fantasy. Like, this ain't actually happening. Like, you're going to get reported to the authorities. You're going to catch a case, all right?
Straight to jail.
Like, straight to jail. You undercooked the fish? Jail. Overcooked the fish? Straight to jail.
Also jail.
Also jail. Overcook, undercook. No. Another thing, right? Sorry. All right, because I had another example of this. Dude, in Blade Runner, one of my all-time favorite movies.
Oh, I know what you're talking
Deckard
about.
straight up rapes this chick. Like Like it's uncomfortable to watch.
I felt
Like-
bad watching it. Like I felt like I was watching something I wasn't supposed to be watching.
She's like, no. She says no so many times, and he's just forcing himself onto her until she loves it. And it's like, I don't think this is real, but it fucked a lot of people up. There's a lot of people in society that A, think it's normal, and B, that they actively do this. They convince themselves, nah, all women love to play hard to get. Like, this is just a game. They're just playing hard to get. Like, and it's
I have a crazy story where, because I didn't take it, she didn't give it to me. So she says, you should have took it from me. And I was like, bitch, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I was supposed to just, so it was a little weird. She wanted a man that was just gonna take what was his, and I'm like, nah, that shouldn't work like that. Like,
That's how you end up in jail.
that's how you catch
Facts.
kids.
So yeah, that was unfortunate.
No, and that's interesting because it also seems to, like, influence women too. Like, there are women that have that viewpoint, right? I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to imagine me ever telling somebody, nah, I don't want this thing. But secretly, it's like I'm just trying to motivate you to do the thing. It's just such a, I don't know.
I prefer clear communication in my life. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you prefer, and I can work with that. I can't work.
I want to
with.
fuck with you.
I
I want to
make
do fuck with you. I want to make fuck with you.
I want to make fuck.
What about like the grand gestures thing that's in more like adult style comedies, like those rom-coms where it's like, oh, he's been fucking up the entire movie, but he does this one big thing, and now suddenly everything's fixed. I feel like a lot of people actually took that lesson to heart. Like they don't know how to just like apologize like a normal person or like communicate like a normal person. It all has to be like big, showy, flashy things.
But sadly, I think that shit works.
You think so?
I think there's a lot of people
Unfortunately.
that are incredibly flattered by the grand gesture. It's ruined me because I'm not a man about grand gestures. I refuse.
Mm-hmm.
I will never show up outside my love interest's house with a boombox.
You're not holding the boombox?
I'm not doing it. You don't deserve it.
What
You don't
song?
remember?
fucking-
You don't remember the black guy outside the house? I'm cooler than him. I dress better than him. He's just going off. He's like, my style is way better than him. My stance, impeccable.
What is
I don't
that
remember
from?
this. Like, I remember this, but I don't remember from where. Like, I remember these words, but
Yeah, I don't remember that one at all.
okay. I was hoping that you would.
I need to go on the Black Messiah's page on Twitter and
I
find. He has like all of them saved. I need to go back.
Joey,
It's
what
like
would
all the what?
what would be your what would you be playing on the boombox outside that house?
Playboy Cardi,
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Control, yeah, or some real good stuff. Playboy Cardi's so toxic. His son was being born in the hospital. His wife had him as the only visitor allowed to visit, and he was playing PS4 with Lil Uzi Vert. He did not go see his son be born.
Jesus Christ. What game were they playing?
I have no idea.
Damn.
She said one time he said that he was going to bring dinner and that he was going to get a Popeye chicken sandwich, and he came home with 3 extra long beef jerky sticks and just handed her one.
He's the one that eats like a child, right?
Yes.
The one where there's like tweets from like someone that was at his house. They're like,
Yo.
he's a grown ass man. This is his food drawer, and it was just candy and like M&Ms and beef jerky.
He said, someone come save me. There's no real food in this house.
Oh shit.
He has
Nah.
a famous line from one of the greatest bars in the world. He says, "My stomach hurt. My stomach hurt. My stomach hurts."
That's terrible. But not answer to give you an answer. All right, if and only if, because I don't think I would. But it would take a very special gal. Okay, if I showed up outside their house with a boombox, I'll play Uncle Luke. Don't stop. I should be like, don't stop, pump that pussy, let me see you doo-doo brown. I wanna rock. Because then you see, it's provocative. It gets the people going. Then I mean, I'm hoping I get some after that. Like,
I mean,
hopefully they heed Uncle Luke's wise words.
I wanna rock.
it's a pretty foolproof plan.
It works every time.
It's much better than my plan of just like writing that letter and hoping Amanda Beckett finds it.
Damn.
You just slip it into a nah, dude. Yeah, the grand gestures thing is all kind of fucked though. Like I used to look at people with like Valentine's Day in high school. Oh my god, it was crazy.
Some dudes go all out, man.
Yo, it was crazy.
Yeah.
There's no love stronger than a 2-week-old relationship in high school right around Valentine's Day. There's no fucking love more deep. Okay. Like, the chocolates, the fucking roses, the balloons.
And it's a competition. Yo, at the end of the day, these women be looking at each other like, what she got? What she got? What she got? You know what I used to do? I used to say, instead of just focusing on one woman, I'll focus on how many dozen roses I bought. I bought like 2 dozen, 3 dozen roses. I'd hand roses out to like I'm the fucking bachelor. Like I'm the fucking here. Take a rose. I'd hand it to some rather not great looking people too. They got some too.
What was your success rate with handing out 24 roses?
It was good. It felt good because it made a lot of people feel good. A lot of people that didn't get chosen and then by the end of the day, they had their little rose. You know what I mean? They felt like somebody was special. They were special to me though.
The end of the day, Doe's got 24 people in front of him. He's trying to figure out how he's going to survive this 25 way.
Oh shit! It's like on step 6 of his master plan. Now he's like, oh shit! Now I got all 24.
The logistics of a 25 way. You would have to like plan out like a full buffet. You'd have to have that thing catered. No one's getting up to make a sandwich on their own. Like.
Oh shit! There'd be logistics. You need a logistics team to handle like the inner workings of this orgy.
Mm-hmm. You'd have like
it's not a fucking way. This is an orgy. There's no number. I think once you get beyond a 3-way, maybe 4-way, once you're in 5-way territory, you're in orgy territory. Like now,
I can agree with that definition. Yeah, there's definitely a logistics team involved once you get to that many people. There's a Facebook invite if nothing else.
I just think of this the smell in that room of 25 naked bodies just getting hot and rubbing on each other. That room gotta stink. There's no way. Even all freshly showered people, just that much exposure,
that much body
just
heat.
Out in the open, butt cheeks, body heat. That room has to stink.
It's a lot of orifices.
It's a lot of orifices. Especially hold on. What are we catering? This is important too.
Oh, what would you eat at your 25-person orgy? Pizza's the obvious choice, right? That's easy. You can eat it with your hands, no plate required.
Finger foods.
Well, like celery and carrots?
Tuna sandwiches.
Oh no. Oh no.
What the fuck? Ew, he wants fish up top choice. And on bottom.
It's always like tuna sandwiches, fish and chips, garlic pesto sauce.
Some boiled eggs.
Some pickled pig's feet. Just why not?
Some croquetas for the Cubans.
Nah, those are good. What you talking about? Dang, the croquetas ain't stinking up the room. Tuna fish.
Tuna fish.
That's so fucking beef.
That's the worst possible answer he could have just spitballed off the top of his head.
The only thing worse than just tuna fish is probably a tuna melt. It's like the tuna hot and steamy should just give off so much smell. Bro, sorry. I probably told this story. Yo, some guy brought in fish to work and microwaved that shit.
What a piece of shit.
That's
Like a fucking atomic bomb.
This is the shit that does not make me miss working from the office, dude. Like,
Oh shit. Yo, that shit was tremendous. I remember I got back. I wasn't there when it happened, but I came. I was walking back from I was working somewhere else in the building. When I came back, I was in the hallway. I was in the staircase.
for our audio listeners, there are straight up laughter tears coming out of Pucho right now.
Oh shit. Yo, I was in the fucking stairwell going up to the second floor, and I was like, what? It was like the air was thick. Like you could feel the stank in the air before you even smelled it. Yeah. Bro, when I got to the second floor and I walked into the room, I was like, holy shit, what the fuck happened? And they were like, yep, it was that prick. That prick just walked up and microwaved fish. And then they put up a sign. It's like, don't fucking microwave fish. Like,
I would have pulled. You should have just pulled the fire alarm, dude. Just pull the fire alarm. That's a good reason to clear out that building. Time for a fire drill.
Oh man, that fucking sucks.
So I think I might know maybe not the single, but like the most commonly taken advice from pop culture that I don't think is good advice. Because I think there's more toxic advice. Like we've talked about some of those very rapey things from some of the 80s movies. But I think that this might actually be like the most commonly taken advice that is just not really the best advice in all situations. Movies just tell you that if she says no, just be persistent. Just keep being persistent. Like she says she doesn't want to date you, just keep asking her out. Like what is that one with the ducky guy that is just constantly going after the girl in that movie? Like there's just so many examples of these guys just like pestering a girl basically until she breaks down and goes out with them. And that is some terrible advice that I see people use all the time in real life. Like it's just like you're complaining because the girl's not interested in you, and the advice you get from your friend instead of maybe she just doesn't like you is just keep at it. Just persistence, bro. Just keep trying to talk to her.
I think there's levels to that though. Like for sure, if someone makes it clear, like, yo, I'm not into you, and you're just going back like, yo, but come on, let me just take you out to one date. Let's just have one nice dinner. Mm-hmm. And they're just like, bro, I'm never gonna go out with you. And they're just like, come on, just give me one chance. I'll blow you away. Like, it's like, all right, you're a fucking creep. Just stop.
Yeah.
But I have experience, like, you know, people basically not showing like an interest, mm-hmm. although not explicitly being like, no, I don't want to, you know, go on a date with you or whatever. I don't know. I've done the persistent thing, for better or worse.
I think you're right in that there's like some kind of like there's levels to it, right? There's like levels, and I think that it depends a lot on like what kind of rejection did you get? Did you get a straight up no? Did you get a no, stop bothering me? Did you get a rain check? Did you get like there's some levels, I'm sure.
Right. I've been rain checked a few times, and then you wonder, all right, you got rain checked 2-3 times. Are they just feigning? Like, are they just giving you the idea of a possibility to be nice? Or is there really a possibility? Like, this is why this whole dating shit is all kinds of fucked, because a lot of people just ain't honest with what they want, and it fucks people, especially with, like, culturally and in movies and all that stuff. We teach like women are the prey or the prize or whatever, and it's only the man that should do the chasing. But that shit creates a lot of like fucked situations. Like it'd be cool if women were out there asking dudes out, like putting themselves out there. The men are like in a tough spot when it comes to that shit. Like aside from the fact that you'll just look like a fucking creep, like trying to, talk to a woman. But like, there's a lot of dudes that just don't have the confidence to just kind of put themselves out there, but they have all this anxiety because they have to. If they don't do this, it just won't happen, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of shitty, but
I mean, to some level, you do have to put yourself out there, right? Like if you don't put yourself out there, the chances of, I don't know. This is like the flip side of it, almost, right? It's like those like mangas, like those like slice of life high school mangas where the guy is this total introvert. All he wants to do is play video games and read his manga, right? And then he runs into this beautiful girl in the street. They literally run into each other on the street, and then that's where the relationship comes from. Not good advice either. You can't just expect a relationship or love to find you, right?
No, for sure. I'm just saying, like, in our society, women just have to live their lives, and men are gonna flock to them and try to make something happen there. Where on the flip side, if a man, so in my view, that woman doesn't need to put themselves out to initiate like conversation or anything like that. Where the other way around, like you need to walk up to a woman and tell them that you're interested in them. To receive that rejection, that shit's hurtful.
I think that that's one of those things that luckily seems to be changing a little bit. I think women are becoming more willing to ask men out. I've been asked out. It's flattering. I enjoy it. I'd like to know that I'm not the only one like putting effort into things.
My man is a sex symbol.
But the dating apps done fucked the whole thing up. Like people don't go out to meet people like that no more.
No.
Like if people want to meet up with somebody, they just go on Tinder and try to hook up. Yeah. When they go out, when you see people out, they're hanging out with their friends. Like they ain't want men to be hitting on them and shit like that. So it's like
I've noticed that I do better in person than on Tinder.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I don't
we
do
fat boys,
well.
right? We funny. We're gonna make jokes. I got a good smile. Like a lot of this shit don't come across well in the picture. Like if someone takes a glance at me, they're gonna be like, pass, right?
I've noticed I don't do very well on Tinder, but then once I'm out there just talking and getting into people, laughing with them, making them laugh, it just naturally comes to me.
Some would say you're a horse, and we're living in a car world now, dude. And you're just our type. We're just gonna die out with the times, okay?
Oh man, imagine if I could make myself.
I'm married, so I've already won. You get it.
You know, like how people who say they have like a brand and like they gotta be, I'm like wonder what my brand would be like.
I don't think I've got an answer for that one. I don't know exactly what your brand would be. I feel like I would recognize it if I saw it. Like if someone was like, this is Doey's brand, I'd be like, oh, I could say if that was or wasn't your brand.
Like a line of cock rings, like Doey. A cock ring is in my mouth. What the fuck? Whoa! Doey's cock rings blasting into your world.
I take it back. I don't know what Doey's brand would be, and I think I misunderstood the statement he was making.
Or maybe like any product. Like, oh my god! I thought we were talking cars.
Toilet paper, but my face.
Man, I don't ever want to be toilet paper.
Yeah, that's terrible. All right. Well, before we run away, I want to say one quick thing. I've never had a condom break on me. Not once.
I have. I think we talked about this in the condom episode. I've definitely, like, those lifestyle condoms, I don't trust them. Can't trust the lifestyle condoms.
They've ripped at the ends, like where I've had them rip there. I've never had them rip towards the front.
And I have definitely had an unlubricated condom break.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That shit doesn't count.
That doesn't count, though. Yeah.
I've used an unlubricated condom one time, And my brother scolded me after. He's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? You look like you're out here fucking a car tire." Like, yo, the fucking thing. I didn't know what I was doing. All right, I tried. Okay, and it was hard to get in. Okay, I didn't have fucking spermicidal lube on me. Okay, so I don't recommend it. It was one of those red. It's like a red wrapper Trojan. It was terrible. But movies taught me that there's like a 75% chance you put this condom on, it's gonna explode. Like you're fucked. Like, and I've always had like, well, not always, but like early on, I had like this fear, like, yo, this is the time the condom's gonna break on me. That for years, my move was, I'd use a condom. Once it's done, I would knot the end and just make sure there was no escaping air or fluids or anything. Like, because I'm like, I don't know, I had like this panicky feeling of a condom just breaking or some bullshit like that.
There are worse fears to have, though, honestly. One of my fears is that we're going to go through this segment without Doey giving us a big old shout out and letting the people know what they need to do.
First of all, if you haven't liked, subscribed, hit the ring-a-ling of the ding-a-lings, then you're absolutely doing yourself a disservice. We release weekly 4 videos. At the end of the week, you're going to get your nice long video, girthy,
Uncut.
some would like to say. Uncut, uncircumcised, just a full length, if that's
Throbbing.
what you like. I prefer to watch bite size. I like the little 25-minute, 30 minutes. I like that. Another round of shout outs. Shout out to Nita, first of all. She came up with this idea for asking the audience questions, and I want to give her props. She deserves it. Shout out to you, Nita. Shout out to everyone else that's been watching and has been supporting Crystal's. I'm sure we got some people from Crystal's audience here now. Welcome to the fuck fest that is the One Up podcast. It's fucking hot and ready videos coming to you. You can find us on anywhere that you listen to podcast streamings, if that's your thing. You want to listen to us, if you want to hear my sensual, sexy voice, those there's ways to do that. And I thank you guys. We wanted to start branching off and doing different things. We have a quick question. If you guys are still hanging in there with us, what kind of, and I'm just going to branch this out, what type of content would you like us to be pushing out? Would you like us to take a little, gaming route where maybe 2 or 3 of us play a video game? Maybe we do a co-op. Maybe it's Resident Evil 5. Maybe. Maybe it's World War Z. What do you want me to? You want me to go the other way, Pucho? How about that? How about we just start talking about Dead Space 3?
It will never be World War Z.
Yeah.
Get on
Okay.
top.
Anyways, we'd like to ask the audience, what kind of games would you like us to play? I think Overcooked would be good. I think, some party games could be good on there. You don't know about Jack? I think those would be good too.
This is for them. You're answering the question. We're new to this, all right, people? We want to know. Tell us. What co-op games do you want us to play? Or multiplayer games or whatever fucking game you want to watch us play and talk shit about.
Battlefield
We'll
5.
do
We're exploring the possibility. I don't know how often we would make gaming content, but if y'all were interested, we'd love to hear what y'all would be interested in seeing.
Album reviews. If you guys have listening to some hippity hop, we could do that too. We could do more album reviews. We just want to please our audience members. And if you guys have an idea, never be afraid to toss it down there in the chats over by my rather large penis.
Damn.
Jesus Christ. I like the confidence though.
Yeah.
Some people admire that confidence. Good for you. Good for him. Hey, so Pucha brought up condoms and condoms breaking and that whole fear. We all are products of the public education system for better and worse.
Yes.
I don't think any of us are private school boys on this podcast. I don't think that's our brand. Our brand is also definitely not whatever thing Doey was talking about in that last segment.
With the cock rings.
But
What the fuck is wrong with this guy?
what my sex education from school was pretty terrible. It was very abstinence based, and they told us about all the terrible diseases you would get. What do y'all wish that you had been taught in sex ed? What do you think are
Not
like
to buy unlubricated condoms. With
That's
them,
a
'cause
fact.
that
Good
was not
condoms.
good.
that is
I didn't even know there was a difference.
Why do they make those? I still don't. I'm a 35-year-old man. I have no idea why they make the unlubricated condoms.
I mean, maybe if your partner is gets overly wet, maybe
Maybe.
fruit gushers in the building. You know what I mean? It's I don't know.
Maybe there's special spurts like lube requirements or something that your partner has. Maybe that's the reason for these.
That's also maybe you're gonna use lube afterwards. That would actually be a good reason.
These could be things. This requires some research. I've never looked into unlubricated condoms, so I don't have this knowledge ready to go.
Speaking of lube, all they ever taught me was don't fuck STDs, don't fuck. Oh, if you suck some cock, look at all this shit you're gonna get over here. Oh, you wanna lick some pussy? Oh, look at this, she got eye herpes. You're gonna get eye herpes. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was never. I know that this sounds wildly inappropriate. But how about teaching me some actual fucking skills? Hey, this is missionary. Hey, this is how you're gonna be. Oh, this is the position of doggy style. You know what I mean?
This is school. This is not the fucking Kama Sutra.
How about listen, I need to know how to fuck. All right? Because when I was a 14-year-old fucking stud and I was out there in those streets, like just ready and willing, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was like, whoa, it's like I got handed keys to a car and I didn't even know about the fucking driving. I was like, whoa, what is this? Like, I
did not think the answer on this was gonna be I wish they had taught me how to fuck.
Why not? Why not? Why not? Show me how to put that fucking condom on. Hells yeah.
My school never did the banana thing. Did y'all's actually do the banana condom thing? I always saw that in movies to speak to the last topic.
That shit is important.
It feels like it should be, right?
I didn't even know how to put a condom on properly.
Dude, the first time I ever put a condom on, it was a mess. I probably went through like 3 or 4 condoms trying to figure out how to get that thing on.
I didn't hold the tip. You're supposed to hold the tip, and because there was always a big bubble of air at the top of my cock. And I'm like, what is up with this? You gotta hold the tip while you're unrolling the shaft. And that's how you get the non-bubble. I had like an airhead cock. It was just terrible.
I've never held the tip, and I've never dealt with like the fucking bayonet at the front of my fucking condom cock.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's interesting.
It sucked, is what it was. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, I definitely think how to put a condom on. Being taught that would have been cool. I don't know. Just talking about like.
Yo, niggas could have gave us a warning like, hey, you could be easy on the clit. Niggas want to be like,
who is this poor football coach that you're picturing in your sex ed class that has to go through this material?
Yo, if they could have told me to be like, yo, control yourself. It's not, you just take it easy, all right? Because I was trying to vigorously eat pussy, and that's maybe not the best way to eat pussy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like, we know that you want to do it. Just maybe like hold back a little bit and just, you know, maybe, I don't know. What do I need, a fuck coach? What is that? What's the next level of sexual education where people
there are actually sex therapists and sex teachers and things like that. Like that is 100% a thing that exists.
Don't
Well,
you
they
want
should
one of
teach-
those sex gurus to go to the fucking
No,
junior
because
high
this
school?
goes hand in hand with consent. Why aren't they teaching children about consent and like, hey, when you're having sex, if the person says no, like, why the fuck aren't we having these conversations with our children?
Consent was going to be mine. That was the one thing I wish that they really covered in sex ed, because I think that there's a lack of messaging, especially to young men, about just exactly all the things that you can do that they're not taking consent into consideration. Like there was we're not going to get too much into this, but there was that thing on Twitter about stealthing, and like people were debating whether that was actually like a violation or not. And I don't even understand the worldview where that's not some kind of violation to take off a condom mid-sex. You can't just change the terms without a discussion. Like that's not the way it works.
Yeah.
So tangentially related to this is what I was going to mention is like, it'd be nice. It wouldn't be something you could necessarily teach in a class, but as I would hope that if it was encouraged, it might change some minds. But like the fact that sex is so taboo still, people, we feel uncomfortable discussing like right now we're talking in a lot of generalities, right? But if it came down to it, and you like, you know, there's gonna be some discomfort when you start talking specifics about what sexual acts you want to do with a person or anything like that. Like, I don't know, there's some part of you that wants it to just happen organically, but when things happen organically is when weird stuff happens. Like maybe you don't necessarily discuss that we have to use a condom. Mm-hmm. So if I had it on and I took it off mid-sex, I didn't think that I was stealthing you. But because that conversation didn't happen explicitly, it's like now one party is sexually assaulted and the other party's having a good time. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a fuck situation. And if we could normalize just talking about like our expectations, talking about what we want in a given situation, I'd hope that A, there'd be less bullshit that happens, but B, like people have a better time. Like how many times have you been having sex and then you just decided, yo, you know what? Like, let me put it in your ass. Like mid-sex. And it's like, wouldn't it have been cool if we could discuss this beforehand? Like, would there be no surprise? Like, it's like, I didn't want anything near my ass, all right? And then you just pouncing on me with that mid-fuck. It's like, yeah, maybe someone agrees to something they don't really want to do. And you know what I mean? It's like shit like that. I don't know. I don't think it's something you could teach in just like one sex ed class, but it'd be nice if like you had some adults in your life that were encouraging you to be open and honest about what you want out of something. I mean, even the fact that like women enjoy sex, like that's something like I found like a lot of women feel like sex is like for men, and it, you know, maybe that a lot of that is cultural, a lot of that is Hollywood, but it's like we don't really have anybody telling us otherwise. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of that. It's the stereotype of like the I've got a headache, because obviously women don't enjoy sex, so any excuse they can make to like not have sex is like a thing, and like pop culture is filled with that, and it's wild because women love sex. Women masturbate just as much as men. It's 100% a thing. I was probably way older than I should have been when I realized that exact thing. There's literally no issue that's not going to be improved with education, sex included. So I agree with you completely. Like if they found ways to give us the ability to talk more openly about these things and to express ourselves and be aware of that sex is a natural thing. It's a biological thing. We're all just people and trying to make connections kind of thing.
So one thing, not to get all Kama Sutra over here like Doey, is that Kuma's, I don't even know what the fuck thing is, but
I think it's a Kama Sutra.
Kama Sutra. It's a shame that the only reason I learned that you have to lick it before you stick it is because I watched Booty Call Okay. Garbage tier movie. Hilarious. Jamie Foxx is in it. It's fantastic. And yeah, the fucking the Indian convenience store clerk is like telling him you gotta lick it before you stick. Like, and it's like, huh. It'd be nice if if somebody taught you that. Like, and not to be all Kama Sutra like though, but like just to explain, like, yo, look, you can't just whip the dick out and just shove it in. Like, there'll be trauma. Like, they'll be bad that'll be bad in the club. Like, that'd be like shooting a bazooka in the club. Like, you want to walk in and enjoy your time there. You know what I'm saying? You want to enjoy your stay. And you gotta ease the situation in. There's some foreplay.
You gotta shake hands with the bouncer. You gotta order a couple drinks.
Gotta pinch the nipples, squeeze and twist. There's
Not too
different
hard.
techniques. There's different moves to do. You grab the breast, you honk them.
Yeah, the honking's the best move. No.
No, but right, just to again, teach people like we have bodily functions, and like in order to do these things that people are trying to do, you just an explanation of how to facilitate these things safely for all parties involved, because it really felt like those things didn't happen. It felt like the full intent of sex ed was to teach you about all the terrible shit that happens if you have sex, to kind of encourage you to just don't have sex. Instead of teaching you like, what are the safe ways to have sex? What is bad sex? Like it's like buying those red Trojans that come unlubricated. It's fucking a car tire.
What has made bad sex for y'all? Because I think that's kind of related to this. Because for me, it's absolutely been like lack of communication. Like, my worst sex has always just been like lack of communication. My partner's not telling me what they want. I'm not saying what I want because they're obviously not telling me what they want. It's this like circular situation that just makes for bad sex. It's just like, oh, I could have played a video game instead of doing that. I would have enjoyed myself more.
Yeah, I guess for me is I always felt like a sex thing was when I was interested in having sex, and I realized when you're in a relationship, sometimes your partner's gonna want to have sex and you're not really ready to have sex right now. So, I mean, you want to accommodate your partner. You want to make sure your partner is getting satisfied. So sometimes you got to take one for the team and just perform. But I not saying like to have sex if you don't want to have sex, but I know that you don't want to let people down. You know what I mean? You kind of don't want to let people down, and you don't want them to feel like shit. But for me, that's one thing that I learned. That sometimes my sexual appetite wasn't around the times that my partner's sexual appetite was open.
I don't know that I would fully agree with that advice. I would say that's something you should communicate, though. Like, if you're maybe not completely in the mood, be like, hey, I'm not feeling it, but let's figure out what we can do that's gonna not disappoint both of us,
No, I completely understand. Like, for me, I'm a morning person. I have a high sexual drive in the morning, not so much late at night. And sometimes they want to wake me up to sexual play. The last thing I want to do when I'm sleeping is wake up to some sexual play. Just leave me alone and let me sleep. You know what I mean? So,
there's another thing right there. Setting boundaries, man. That's a thing that should be discussed in sex ed, because that's a boundary for you, and that's something that you should communicate in future relationships or your current situation. Like, that should be a thing that's known, because honestly, someone waking you up with sex, that's a sexual assault in a lot of ways. If you're not consenting to it and you're woken up with sex, that's 100% a sexual assault.
Yeah.
I mean, there's levels to that
there are levels to it. I was waiting for you to chime in.
Because I don't know. I feel like the language. I feel like we don't have enough language to separate like the truly vile acts from the the medium vile, then to like the didn't really mean to cause harm, but I guess I'm an inconsiderate. Like there's so many levels to all this stuff. I don't know. It feels like we need more words, but like
I think if we had more open communication with our sexuality, there would be less of the situations. You would have that conversation with your partner where it's like, hey, I am not a morning sex person. Please don't wake me up with sex. That's not what I'm into. Or giving your full consent and be like, you wake me up with doing whatever you want, anytime you want. Yeah. I'm always 100% down. If I'm not, I will let you know after being woken up.
But like, right. So I guess to the scenario that you're saying though, like the reason I say there's levels is like I'm married and I've been with the same person for over 10 years. Mm-hmm. If I'm woken up with sex, this is just, we're doing business. This is just part of the game, right? Like it's just happening. But like, if you're having like a one night stand with somebody and y'all done having sex and y'all think, all right, we're just going to go to sleep now. And then you just wake up getting fucked or something. It's like, whoa, there's a bigger degree of
malintent,
how inconsiderate you might have been in that situation, where like even the same act without all the relationship and all the knowing somebody, the act could be way worse just by like, you know, not knowing someone enough and maybe you not being thoughtful enough to even try to communicate or something like that. It's like, yeah, that does make you shittier. Like,
yeah. And like you mentioned, like obviously the dynamics shift in a long-term relationship. Like there's a lot more that is, I don't know. I'm not going to smack a random woman or person on the ass that I don't know. That's some level of sexual misconduct, right? To just smack a stranger on the ass. Your wife, your girlfriend, your partner, you could, it can be a little bit different. Now, if they tell you no, if they tell you no, if they tell you no forcefully and they're like, no, I don't like that ever, then you know, okay, there's the boundary. The boundary's been set. Some people are good about having those conversations before the thing even comes up. They'll mention like, hey, I don't like X, Y, and Z. These are things that are non-negotiable. This is my boundary. Some people are good about that. Some people aren't. And it's a lot of adjusting to the moment and taking people at their word. Someone tells you they don't want something. They don't want something. Boom, done.
I also think that if you have a hard time talking to somebody about how you feel, like, you have to work on that, like, because sex is so taboo for Americans for some reason, and because it's so awkward, setting boundaries sexually, being able to say no, like that's not cool, is very important. And I know it's scary when you're having one night stands, but you gotta be able to verbalize it. You gotta be able to talk to your partner. If that's a problem for you, you have to like reconsider what kind of sex you want to be having. Have sex that you can, if you're foreplay and you're able to say no during foreplay, then foreplay is where it ends. You know what I mean? But be responsible. As the man, I like to do a little checkup every once in a while. Like, are you good? We all right? We're good here. Just a little checkup, you know, while we're having sex. That always helps to. If you don't get anything back, usually that means that there's something wrong, and you have to stop and be like, "Yo, are we good?" You know what I mean? Or just check in. Some people say that might break the experience, but I don't think it does. I think it's super important to know if your loved one is enjoying it.
I think that statement tends to be a cop out for a lot of things. Like I've heard guys claim like, "Oh, I don't put on a condom during sex, even if it's a one night stand, because I feel like it breaks the the mood," and that's bullshit. Like, put that condom on, wrap up. It's a shitty excuse. It's a terrible excuse.
I was gonna say the check-ins are crucial. Mm-hmm. Like,
yeah,
the sound especially if you don't know a person that well, the sound between pleasure and pain, the hearing it doesn't sound that different.
It can be
Like-
very similar.
Like, so it's like something could be hurting someone. And again, because we're so uncomfortable about telling people no or telling people how we feel in the moment, you could be hurting someone for, and I'm not even saying like a sexual assault, nothing crazy. I'm just saying like maybe they're just not that wet, and you're just ramming them, and it just doesn't feel that great for them. Like doing the little check-in, like, yo, you good? And it might allow them to be able to be like, actually, we need some lube, or maybe we should do a different position, or
Maybe I just want to go back to making out for a little while. Let's just take a step
oh
back.
man, I'd be pissed. You're just you're ramming, and they're like, yo, let's just go back to making out. You're like, nah, I'm getting out of here. This sucks.
I've been there. It is, it's not great, but you got to respect the other person's wishes. Like you can.
No, for sure.
Like-
I'm sorry. I'm not. The implication of me is insane.
It didn't come across as like that you're gonna like go punch the drywall or something.
Yeah, that's the cock. That wasn't punches.
That would be a terrible move. You get so pissed off, you boom, punch a wall. That's where you're asked to leave.
That's when people get so afraid they can't say no to you,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're fucking taking advantage of it.
You're
muted.
muted, bud.
Even as a man, there's been times that maybe I didn't want to have sex, and maybe I should have verbalized it better. And you know what I mean? Because in most of my relationships are very comfortable, very openly sexual with all my partners.
You're a pleaser too, man. Like you
Yes.
like your partner, you like your friends to be happy, and you'll
Yeah.
take a little bit of an injury. You'll do something you don't necessarily want to do to make someone happy.
Yeah.
And that can lead to, I mean, guys can get raped too. Guys can get sexually assaulted too. Like that is a thing. That's a thing that's not talked enough about in sex ed too.
Because we're always supposed to want it.
Yeah.
Oh, how could you not have wanted to have sex?
I mean, it's something we've already discussed, but like
The teacher thing.
it's the teacher thing, right? Like the teacher goes and has sex with all the boys are like, oh, I wish the teacher would come at me, blah blah. Because again, it's like all the boys, they want it, right? Like that's what it is. But it's like you flip the fucking roles, and now it's a vile fucking act. Like how dare that man try to have sex with the little, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's a lot of shit that I think we're teaching our kids is normal or good or thing. Like a teacher fucking a kid, that's all types of fucked up. Like regardless of what genders anybody is.
Those power dynamics is something they should talk about in sex ed. Like,
Yes.
why is that a level of education we only get like during sexual harassment training for work? I mean, shit, dude.
Sucks.
Do retail? I've never worked a retail job. Do retail jobs do sexual harassment training and things?
They're starting to do it now. But
Okay,
they
'cause-
didn't before.
I was gonna say I felt like that wasn't a thing because the amount of like women friends that I had that had various levels of sexual harassment and sexual misconduct and whatnot working retail jobs and like service industry jobs was crazy. Like there was
When I
like
worked-
no delineation between like the manager taking advantage of these young girls that would work for them.
I had a few managers take advantage of me as a 16-year-old kid in high school.
Damn.
I had several 2 different managers at a supermarket that I worked at.
That's awful,
yeah.
dude.
I mean, was it? You know what I mean? I gotta be honest. It wasn't that bad. I was able to consent in these situations, but these were older people.
So, I don't know, man. There's a lot of debate about what age you can actually give consent at, especially
You're right.
for males. Like I've heard that males don't mature quite as fast as women do, as young women do.
Yeah,
We got
So,
little baby
and-
brains for a long time.
but it is what it is. I did end up getting good schedules for a while.
Oh god.
What about you, Pooch? How do you? I know that you're part of like the parents that are like really working on like teaching bodily autonomy, right? Like this is your body. This is you. This is your space. You control who comes into your bubble, right? I don't know that sex ed teaches that. I don't remember ever getting that lesson in sex ed. So is that a concern that that those lessons aren't reinforced by the school in any way whenever they start talking about things that are related to that kind of lesson you're teaching your kid?
Absolutely. I mean, and it's a concern across the board. Like, you know, the way that the fucking school district wants to teach math, or the way they're doing it's like everything. It's like I hope they do everything the way that I think is right or whatever, right? But I guess it's extra scary because it's like people don't end up scarred for life because they weren't taught like PEMDAS a certain way. Like, like, you know, a bad sexual situation could incur a lot of trauma on your life. Like,
absolutely.
So yeah, like I would love if schools taught like bodily autonomy, and they taught what's okay, what's not okay, what is consent, what isn't consent, what like all these types of things that we go out there and we just try to figure out. Like we're just fucking feeling around in a fucking pitch black room, like, and then when someone then when someone says, "Oh, you crossed my boundary," it's like, "Oh shit, I didn't even know there were boundaries." Like you know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of the situations that occur are not like malicious. And of course, of course, some people have that moment where they realize like, like, oh, they never said no, and now they're taking advantage of a situation, and that's fucked up. But it's like, again, if there's no clear lines drawn, or we haven't, as a society, decided this is okay, this isn't okay, or whatever, it's like, there's always going to be like these blurry lines where people are going to get away with things. People don't know that they're crossing a line. Like, I don't know. Of course, I wish that schools taught more of that type of stuff. And it's even something that I struggle with. Sometimes I walk up to my kid and I'm like, hey, give me a hug. And she'll be like, nah. And then I'll just forcefully hug her. And it's just something that like I need to stop doing, because I am there. Like, I do want to teach like, nah, you said no. There's going to be circumstances where we're going to do this no matter what. Like, I'm sorry. You got to put on clothes because we got to go to school. Like, there's an extent, but for the things that don't matter that much, like, that'd be a good place to start, to kind of reinforce some of those teachings, I guess.
Joey, do you think that sex ed should be taught earlier? When did you get your sex ed? I want to say mine was in like 8th grade or 9th grade or something.
Middle school, like somewhere 8th grade, maybe 7th grade, 8th grade.
But then it was doing sex ed in junior high.
It was so trash. Like I said, they just showed us STDs.
I think mine might have been high school. I think mine might have been like freshman year of high school or something.
We got another one in high school, but once again, it was just STDs. That's
they
all.
Taught sex ed in the health class.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
and it was like a day. It was like
a day,
one day of sex ed stuff.
It's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid to act like it's like build a character, but then like the most essential parts, we're just gonna like avoid those. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's weird. I don't know. I think if even going as wildly as this, if we start to teach sex in a way to people where sex is more widely accepted and we're not calling teenagers whores for having sex, I think that shit is like stupid as fuck. All these young people having sex, that's all young people want to do. Man. We're horny, we're humping things, we're like, oh, fuck's like, we're putting our cocks in things we shouldn't put our cocks in. That's all we want to do. So like, if that's all we want to do, and it's not the worst thing in the world, I think teaching people how to have sex and promoting whether it's male contraceptives or female contraceptives.
Sorry.
Getting
Just-
your tubes tied, whatever you gotta do to, like, you know what I mean? We're not trying to have like young people having
what if,
babies.
Sorry, Doy, because you touched on something very interesting. What if, like, in junior high, let's say like 7th grade, the faculty just passed out like a bunch of pocket pussies for all the boys, like
The best.
like just
You know, there is a line of like parental thought that like once your kids become like, we've talked about this on the show. We've talked about like how like that's become a thing. Like parents will give their daughter a dildo or a vibrator or something, or like it's interesting. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think it'd be fucking wild if the school did it. I think there would be so many protesting parents clutching pearls.
Unfortunately, I've known a lot of my exes. They put things inside of themselves that they shouldn't have, and stigmatizing a woman's pleasure and not stigmatizing a man, like, oh, they're supposed to jerk off, they're always jerking off. Like, luckily we have these beautiful hands that we could pressurize to our liking, but women don't have that, so they end up taking
Women definitely have hands, Joey.
they have hands. What the fuck?
I've seen
yeah,
them.
but still, it's a little bit different. I feel like for women, you know what I mean.
You're
I've
missing the joke.
yeah. All right.
What
So,
about
yeah.
you, Pooch? How early do you think? Because I think that it should be taught crazy early. I think it should be taught in stages. Obviously you're not teaching like an 8-year-old like this is penetration. This is an erect penis and it goes inside the pussy or something like that. But I think there's aspects of sex and sexuality you can start teaching that young. And it would start off with things like body autonomy and consent, and those would be the early conversations
The
building up
first
to like
things.
the sex education.
I would start earlier. I would start earlier than that. I would start at, how do you wash your penis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how do you wash your vagina? Like it'd be nice if there was some authority that could tell you the right way to do these things. Like, you know how many little fucking kids running around with smeg all over their dick heads? Like, that's fucking disgusting. Like, clearly someone didn't teach this kid how to wash their dick. And clearly this kid doesn't know how to wash his dick. Like, it'd be nice if someone taught somebody, like, this is the way you're supposed to do this thing. Like I don't know. I feel like that just teaching about the anatomy of your body, how to clean it, how to deal with it, like,
No, some
you know,
people would say wiping your ass should be very easily, and then they hand me some toilet paper.
yeah. Before Doey got the bidet, he walked around with doo-doo drawers. So
I actually agree with you a lot, Pooch. I think that there are bare minimums that are required to participate in society. I'm actually a little controversial. I don't think that parents should be able to use religion as an excuse to get their kids out of sex education. I think that that's bullshit. I think that if you want to participate in society, there are some things you have to do. And one of those things is you should be educated on sex and the risk of sex and the benefits of sex. You should have that knowledge in you. I don't think you should be able to opt out of that just because your parents want to teach you that if you have sex, you're going to hell or something. You can have that opinion and still have the knowledge of how to protect yourself if sex happens. And they're not competing things. You can choose to be a virgin if you want to. There's nothing wrong with being a virgin. There's asexual people out there. I think that's wonderful and amazing. But I think to participate in society, there's a bare minimum of skills and knowledge that you should have.
Yeah, religion gets deep when we're talking about it's. Unfortunately, why things are the way they are now is because this country was a part of, like, Christianity was a big part of this country, and abstinence went with Christianity, and that's what they felt like should be taught in schools. But I think when you're talking about right now, I think there's a completely different type of category of people. I think we should be open to less Christian ideology. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think religion has any place in education. I think that they should be two very separate things, and yeah, you shouldn't be able to block education just based on your religious preference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
You shouldn't
I
be
get
able to.
I'm all right, like a school like encouraging your kid to go and have sex as like an example. It's like, yeah, I could totally see why in a circumstance like that, I would be like, hold up, my religion ain't about this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're about to damn my kid to hell type of shit. You know what I'm saying? I think that's different. But like you said, learning about the religious aspects of sex versus learning about the biological and health aspects of sex are not mutually exclusive. Like, you could learn about what feels good, what doesn't feel good, how to do this, how not to do this, what gives you an STD, like what do they look like. You can learn all of this stuff and know that doing any of these things will send you to hell. Like, you know what I mean? Like those, like, again, of their own, if that's their opinion, right?
If that's
But
your
like,
belief.
right, if that's your belief. But I'm just saying, like, you can learn all that stuff and then have your religious teachings also apply. Like, okay, now if you do all those things, you know, you're gonna go to hell, or if you gotta get married or whatever the fuck. Like, those two, I don't know, I'm with you. Those two things aren't mutually exclusive. Like,
Yeah, that I think like consent and I don't know, man, like just more education, dude. If anything they wanted to add into sex education that is not just the abstinence and here's why you shouldn't have sex and here's why you shouldn't have anal sex, especially if you're two men, because man, my school spent a long time telling us how bad and how dangerous homosexual like sexual relations were. I don't know. It needs to be revamped. I don't think it will in our lifetime, but I can hope
it's
a little bit, I guess.
Let me not even say it. I was gonna say some wild shit.
We're ending on a bummer here.
Bum is right. Pinky in the bum. Some would say.
You know what, man? Different strokes for different folks. Some people like things, and we should appreciate that, and you should communicate that to your partner if that's what you like.
I didn't know until it happened.
As you guys know, my ass is way too sensitive. I can't take nothing up my ass. I can't even sit on a goddamn fucking bike seat for 20 minutes. My ass is destructed. All right. Could you imagine someone trying to go to town on me? It'd be horrible. I'd be hospitalized. Like, it'd be a mayhem.
That's fair. That is absolutely fair. That is your boundary, and we respect you setting that.
Thank you.
Any closing thoughts here? I think we're about ready to wrap up on this one. We covered a lot of ground here. You gotta lick
it before you stick it, folks.
Be very, very open with your feelings. Be very transparent all the way, and I think you'll be okay. As long as you're being transparent, you're being open, I think you'll have a lot easier of a time. Plus, you'll get the bad part out of the way. I know rejection sucks, but why waste your time talking to somebody who doesn't want to talk to you? Why waste your time trying to fuck somebody who doesn't want to fuck you? Just move on to the next person at that. Like, you're making it easier on yourself.
Absolutely.
It's like all those guys who get caught up in the friend zone. They get friend zoned for a whole year. There's a whole year of worth of women or men, whoever you are, of people you could have been talking to this whole time, trying to figure sex out, figure relationships out, all that type of shit. But you're wasting your time with somebody who ain't interested. Like,
that is a good future discussion, whether the friend zone exists or not. We're going to tease you with that.
Whether you can break out of it or not, you can definitely break out of the friend zone.
I think the friend zone might be an entirely self-constructed concept.
All right.
But that's a future discussion here. As Doey said, we are three men with hearts full of love, and we just want everyone to share that love and communication and openness with each other. Our friend Crystal is building an amazing community. We're trying to do the same. We like to discuss things. We like to pick each other's brains a little bit. We appreciate you coming into the episode. We appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate those of you that have made it this far, because I know that our retention sometimes drops off at about 10 minutes or so based on analytics. But we're going to keep doing what we do. We love doing this for you. We appreciate you. Leave those comments. Hit that subscribe button. Ring that bell. We're bringing as much content as we can to you. We are literally wringing ourselves to dry every week to try and bring you the best content we can.
Yeah.
We love you. Take care of yourself. Go one up yourself. Peace.
Good night.
Peace. I want to make fuck with you.
I want to make fuck.